These 10 girls, some of whom just finished their first meal in days here in Mrs. Juanita Kraft's backyard in South Dallas, have at least one thing in common: their experience with business trade schools. Some of them, many of them, have used up savings to pay for tuition to a trade school or a business school. They've invested in bus fare. In at least one case, even the family furniture has been mortgaged to pay for these girls to come to Dallas to go to school for nothing. Most of them have gone for maybe one day, perhaps a week, have found out that there is nothing to the schools. Typical is 17-year-old Melissa White, DeRidder, Louisiana, more than 300 miles away from home, sitting here in Dallas. Melissa, what happened to you when you came here?
Well, when I first came to the school, I expected to be a big thing, you know. And when I first got to the school, we went to a nationwide business college where they give classes at. When we got there, we still thought it would be nice. And then when we went to our dormitories, that's when we found out it was, you know, something about it, because they had told us that dormitories would be new apartments and that we would live in a dormitory. And they said that there would be at least 2 girls to 1 room. And then in some of the room there were 6 girls.
Does Dallas have an obligation to these girls? Apparently the city council thinks so. They have done something. Rosser McDonald has that story.
Besides the hurt of those lured to Dallas on false premises, Mayor Johnson, at a special news conference today, said that those duped often become a burden on the city, and perhaps even more important, the situation has given Dallas a black eye all across the southern United States.
This is a problem that's caused by the trade schools importing into the city of Dallas students who do not have the financial means to support themselves or to take care of themselves while getting an education. Some come expecting jobs that are not available and with the expectations of sending money home. Dormitory facilities are not available, and transportation is an expense not anticipated. Transportation, that is, from the school to whatever place they are housed. Many of these students are coming in after having borrowed money from small loan companies in their hometown, being assisted by their churches and friends in their community, only to find that it's impossible for them to get the education that was promised to them once they got here.
City Attorney Alex Bickley said the principal target of the new regulations will be advertising claims of the schools. Officials emphasize that only a few operators are causing the problems. The Association of Trade and Technical Schools is in agreement. The national president is Bill Elkins of Elkins Institute here in Dallas.
Good accredited trade and technical schools and business schools in this area approve of Mayor Johnson's move. I've just sent the mayor a telegram commending him for his action. We know this is a move in the right direction, and it may not be enough, but certainly it's going to help. Accredited schools police themselves, and yet we have people who, under the guise of a school, fleece unsuspecting people and take advantage of them as if they were an educational institution.
With the city administration planning to devise licensing and regulating authority and most industry voices supporting the controls, it is almost certain that they will be imposed, but not without a fight, as learned by Channel 8's Phil Reynolds.
One objection to the ordinance comes from Nationwide Business Schools, one of the schools in Dallas that has been under fire recently for some of its practices. The operator of that school explained to Channel 8 News today why he objected.
I feel that this one is specifically designed against Nationwide Business College.
What gives you that impression?
Well, it's my understanding that the City Council had a meeting this morning with 3 of our former students and the parents of 2 there, and then the mayor gave the authority to the city attorney after this, telling him to draft an ordinance.
Objections to the ordinance notwithstanding, the fact remains that hundreds of young people have been turned out onto the streets after having attended and put their money into fraudulent business colleges. Whether the ordinance is wrong or not, there is still the consolation that something is being done. For Rosser McDonald, Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News in South Dallas.
council considers this matter urgent and suggests that the city attorney proceed forthwith. I should expect that you will see this ordinance introduced into the council on Monday.
Mayor, would you anticipate any sort of a court test of this after it is put on the books?
I should think not. Our city attorney draws ordinances that don't get into court trouble very often. Besides, we just raised his salary, and I know he's going to live up to it.
Mr. Sullivan, approximately how many registered communists are there in the United States today?
Well, Gus Hall, the leader of the party, recently claimed from 12 to 14,000 members of the Communist Party.
It's been said that there are communists working in industry here in the United States. Is there any truth to this?
The communists today are not carrying cards. They had cards years ago, but they do not today. And in regard to industry as a whole, organized labor, that particular phase of the employer-employee relationship cleaned house very effectively years ago. AFL and CIAO in particular did a good job of cleaning house.
What is one of the ways to combat the growing rise of communism here in the United States?
Well, the best way to combat communism is to eliminate the causes. And the causes are social injustices, discrimination of one kind or the other, ignorance, poverty, and disease, a lack of adequate factual information. The accent should be on something constructive and positive in opposing communism. It's not enough to know what we're against, we must know what we're for, and what we're for is a free and open society. And the more healthy we can make our own society, the weaker we'll make communism.
The overall aim is to assist the local education agencies in reaching their local goals and objectives, meeting the needs of youngsters in that particular district.
As you have this aim, what steps do you propose to reach the aim?
We have 3 steps that we're thinking about in reaching the aims. One would be assisting the local educator in coordinating educational planning, which would identify the number of the resources that he might have available to implement a program to meet the needs. The next step would be to assist the local educator in coordinating the educational services that is very difficult for him to provide at the local level. The next aim would be to assist the local educator in the in-depth planning that he would need to do in order to work out a solution to the problem or to the needs that he has.